First of all, thank you, Paul. Thank you, Canvas, for providing us this amazing venue and hosting us. And thank you, Brett and Innovators, for giving us this platform. It's been an amazing conversation all day. So, love classics, and there's no better classic in the corporate world than saying we're the last thing standing between you and a cocktail. Ideally,
I think
cocktail.
it is a LALO.
Of course.
Is your microphone on?
Oh, let's see here. There we go.
Is this thing working?
There you go.
All right, much
Thank
better. Much better. It's a really funny joke. So excited to close this out here today. James Kiernan again from Penske Media, similar to Kenvu. You're likely familiar with our brands, but not necessarily Penske Media. We represent brands including Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Music Space, Billboard, Rolling Stone, Rock Report, Art Forum. We also own South by Southwest. That was just a couple months ago that we came back from. It was really exciting. But I'm excited to be here with you guys today. So often, us in the room are trying to get in front of CMOs, make best use of your time, understanding like what your challenges are. So I'd love for you just to kind of like set the stage by talking a bit about your challenges, the state of like your business, and then we'll roll into the conversation. Actually, no, wait, before that, we did talk about an icebreaker. And given the fact that we do play in the music space, the icebreaker that I love, that I actually gave my kids the best answer to, what was your favorite, or what was your first concert you ever attended? My kids attended the Eras Tour this summer at MetLife. Mine, very dated, was Vanilla Ice opening up for MC Hammer. Changed my life. Really sent me a trajectory.
That's a tough one to follow right now. For me, it was actually The Roots. So freshman year in college, it was week one of college. They had like a student life, student activity moment where they had a concert and the Roots band performed, and it was pretty epic.
Well, I got a funny accent, so you probably won't know who I'm going to talk about. Mine goes all the way back to Bristol Colston Hall in the UK and Madness. One person. One person knows who the fuck they are. Look them up, kids.
So yeah, since you have the mic, why don't you talk a little bit about like your business?
Sure. So I've been with LALO Tequila now for all of 4 months, so I'm an absolute expert in the category, of course. Prior to this, I used to run agencies. If you've heard of Sidley, Digital Kitchen, if you've heard of Interbrand, I used to run those. I was also a client in Australia. I had a funny accent from there as well. I was head of marketing at Telstra, and I've also been a management consultant. So I've done every kind of job in this industry, which is why I have all the grey hair. I'm only 25.
At least you have hair.
Yes. Thank you very much. So LALO is kind of a roaring success story. We have 3 founders, which is a wonderful story in and of itself. Lalo Gonzalez is our master tequila. He's from Guadalajara. He is the grandson of Don Julio. So he comes from a long line of tequila makers. And his childhood friend, David Caballero, was a kind of tastemaker in Mexico City and in Paris, and he's just this amazing connector. He's our head of brand, and he just connects with people. God knows how he did this, but during the Emmys he became friends with Jay-Z and Beyonce, and at some kind of after party that he showed me a picture of at 7 a.m. in Chateau. So I don't know how he does it. So that's David, and then he's married to Jim McDermott, who is our CEO. Jim is a serial entrepreneur out of Austin. We're based in Austin these days as well. And it's been an amazing 4-year run for the tequila. It's a Blanco-only, additive-free tequila with just 3 ingredients. There's nothing else added, which if you take a look at what's in your tequila, it's kind of horrifying. So only drink additive-free and only drink Blanco. We only have 1 SKU as well. So when I turned up, I said, "Where's the innovation roadmap?" They said, "Andy, we just sell Blanco." So our innovation is we've got a slightly smaller bottle and a slightly bigger bottle. So I'm kind of fucked there. So we don't have much to talk about. There's not much in our tequila. It's additive free and there's nothing in it other than tequila. There's no other SKUs. And so my challenge is to kind of help build the brand. It's been doubling every year for 4 years. It's going to do that again this year, and it's predicted to do it again next year. So it's just on an absolute tear. And I was saying in the closed door group, it's got one of those kind of aspects to it. It's a cool brand, and we don't really know why. It's equally drunk, which is unusual in tequila, especially premium tequila, 50-50 male-female. So it's got this kind of beautiful profile. It's very clean drinking. It's very easy to drink. Mixes really, really well. But as I said to my team, let's be really, really careful because marketing departments are where cool brands go to die. So our job is just to not fuck it up. But we can get into the detail. JK.
So Beyond Me, right? I've been at Beyond now for about 15 months. And it's been an incredible journey. Still learning more about the category and about the brand. Prior to Beyond, I was with Red Bull off and on for 10 years. So the young lady from Monster, cheers. We had a nice rivalry for a long time. And Beyond has been an incredible journey because it's an interesting category. It truly is a disruptive category. It is something that has only existed since 2009. So it's a 15-year-old company. However, the product itself is still relatively new. And if you think about that, there are very few brands in this room or in the world that are trying to disrupt an industry that's been around for millennia, since essentially the beginning of human cognition, right? When cavemen actually started eating meat, or when early humans started eating meat, there was a spark that happened, really very dense calories, right? Nutrient-dense calories. And it was actually able to unlock what was happening in our brains. And it really changed the trajectory of human development, right? So now, tens of thousands of years later, we're coming in saying, hey, it's a mistake to eat meat. Let's go back and actually go back to what we ate before meat, which is plants. And because we now have a way to actually make meat from plants, we think that it's a much more effective and efficient way to get calories, to get protein, to grow, to develop. It's also far better for the environment. However, when you're making that argument to a consumer that loves eating a steak every once in a while, or enjoys eating chicken, once or twice a week, or pork, it's a really hard proposition. Everybody in here has a recipe from their mother, their abuela, their grandmother, somebody that's created something for you that has a special connection or meaning. And I'm telling you that that's killing the planet. I'm telling you that the animal that is, the basis of this food item is suffering. It's not fun. So to your point, we got to make our brand cool. We got to build a brand. And we've done an effective job of doing that. We're going to panels at the end of the day. Burgers and tequila. Beyond tacos, we can really do this thing.
Right here.
We also do steaks. We can do steak fajitas. Whatever. But it really is challenging, right? So we try to do a really good job of helping people understand the why behind what it is that we build. It's less about the harm. And to some degree here in the U.S., it's less about the environmental impact, and it's more about just eating food that tastes good. It allows you to eat what you love, and you can do that while still making sure that you're getting great calories, great protein, great macronutrients, right, that are going to be helpful. And honestly, it's going to be far better for the environment as well. So we're really working on that. The health benefits of our product are really self-evident. But when you're in a disruptor position, like in some cases, the incumbent industry is going to be like maybe ignore you. But again, we're going after the big meat industry, right? Also big pharma, because there's only one way to make sure that factory farmed animals can survive throughout the factory farming process, and that's through injections of hormones and antibiotics, right? So we're going up against these massive, massive industries with incredibly deep pockets. And little old me is telling you to know, change your behavior. If I get one more share of your gut on a weekly basis, I can actually have significant output or outcome for my business. And that's probably that's the number one thing we're driving to. And earlier someone asked, hey, like, what are you KPI'd against? And it's brand awareness, sales, like full stop. We got to find a way to drive revenue, household penetration, share of requirement. That is what we're working towards here at Beyond.
in our prep calls, individual prep calls, we both spoke about the importance. You have amazing loyal fan bases, but you both spoke, and I think you used actually same terminology in terms of advocating or amplifying the advocacy of your most genuine fans. Not all fans, your most genuine fans. So I'm interested in how you go about doing that.
Getting pissed. I mean, we have about 5% brand awareness, and so when I joined, the founders said, "Hey, we need more awareness. Not enough people know us." And I said, "Great. Well, if you give me $20 million, I'll get that 5% to maybe 15%. But that's not going to move the needle. What about 65%? Well, how much is that going to cost us?" A canvas. I mean, it's cheaper canvas, obviously, because but we can't afford it. And I said, even if we had 65% brand awareness, you couldn't fulfill it with liquid anyway. So let's pursue a different metric. Let's pursue advocacy. Turns out, not popular for advertising companies and media companies, but advocacy, brand advocacy, is 5 times more valuable than me saying something. Is to have you say something about LALO. In our research, we found that we're in the 96th percentile for brand advocacy. In fact, my saying is this, is that there's only 2 types of people in the world. There's those that love LALO and those that haven't tried it yet. And it's true, people love it. They love the brand, they love everything it stands for, they share it, they feel like they've discovered it. And so I said, let's just get behind advocacy as a metric, not just for marketing, but for the company. Because if we can get bartenders to advocate for LALO, and they do, as the Soho House the other day, asking, and at every bar I go to now, I can't just go and have a drink anymore. I talked to the bartender and said, how are we doing against Casamigos? And he said, it's 1 for 1, my friend. Most nights it's 1 for 1, and sometimes you're ahead. He said, and we love it, and we love LALO. And I said, why do you love LALO? He said, because it's good tequila, man. And so, we get behind that. We get behind bartenders. We get behind retailers who know it's easy to sell and it flies off the shelves. And we get behind consumers. And we build advocacy with them by following where they go. Our life began really in Austin. And in Austin, it's kind of nasty in the winter. And in the summer, it's even more nasty. And people tend to go to places like Aspen. So we watch that. And so we're big in Aspen. We do the winter season and we do the summer season in Aspen because we know our customers from Austin want to see us in Aspen. And so my strategy nationally, now we're a nationally distributed brand, is to follow our customers wherever they are, wherever they go, and show up and delight them with our product and delight them with experiences that they couldn't get anywhere else. And that's doing gangbusters for us as a business. It's just driving advocacy. I was saying to the Canvas team earlier, because we're talking about some media this year, we are hand-to-hand marketing with our customers, in lockstep with our salespeople, and it's all about ensuring that people love us and genuinely, warmly, joyfully love us because we love it, and it's that kind of transfer of enthusiasm that turns out really, really works for us. So it's very simple. Actually, not much to do with marketing in some ways. It's just about people caring about our product as much as we love it. And that was the founding principle of our tequila. It wasn't made to sell. It was made for friends and families at weddings and parties in Guadalajara. They kept asking for it, and so it is what it is today, approaching 100,000 cases.
AK, you actually are same challenge, but almost slightly different challenge in the sense that the category overall, I felt like experienced a huge surge. Netflix documentaries talking about how bad meat was for you, and then you've had on the flip side, influencers basically taking a different angle. Influencers taking a different angle, creating this misperception that you now have had to kind of correct.
Yeah.
So how are you guys going about doing that?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of ways to do it. It's funny, just speaking of what Andy said too, just very briefly, because it really does tie back in. During my time at Red Bull, the philosophy for how we marketed was really to engage the core, right? And if you engage the endemic audience, the core audience in the field of skateboarding, as an example, and these are the people that every single day, most hours of the day, they are skateboarding. There's a culture, a lifestyle, a community that exists that they are a part of. And as a brand, we wanted to be a part of that. We wanted to give wings to the ambition of that core community. We knew that if we did a really excellent job at that we would be able to leverage the core around our brand to influence what we call the crew. And these are people who are kind of ancillary to the core of that audience or the endemic group. And if you could get the crew to be down with you as a brand, you would be able to influence the crowd or mainstream audiences within that particular space. We have a similar approach at Beyond. The brand, again, has only been around since 2009, but the following that the brand has been able to nurture is incredibly exciting about what it is that we do. So, even though sometimes we get some negative comments on an Instagram post, the community that we've been able to nurture over the last several years will come to the defense of the brand in pretty significant ways. And it's been really wonderful to see that because the advocacy that we have just within that little microcosm of marketing is quite powerful. But in order for us to get beyond that core group, we need to find a way not to just have the vegans and vegetarians who are really passionate about us, speaking about us. We need to have third parties also speaking about us. So we've made a strategic pivot where it's not just about us saying, hey, we're actually good for you, to actually go into these credible institutions and saying that as well. I mean, this is why we have the American Heart Association, the American Diabetes Association, the American Cancer Society, Stanford University, Oxford, nutritionists and dietitians all over the world, to actually try our products, to actually see if the health benefits that we are purporting are actually things that they see as well, and they can then amplify that message to their audiences. And we've seen quite a bit of success with that.
So much of what we do at Penske is around events, cultural moments, and trying to be the access point to those moments, whether it's variety at Comic-Con, whether it's billboards, after party, at the Grammys. So I'm interested to understand how you go about leveraging cultural moments, attaching yourself to cultural moments that are relevant to your brands, and doing it in an authentic way.
Before I answer that, I love that. I'm going to steal it if you don't mind. The core, the crew, the crowd. I love it. So we like to think of LALO not as a tequila brand, but as an entertainment brand. Because, well, let's face it, nobody drinks tequila to just necessarily chill out. It's kind of a party, and so in a world full of celebrity tequilas, which the world is getting pretty sick of, when what's his name, Guy Fieri, the guy with the crystal tips, celebrity chef. I walked into a store the other day. He has his own fucking tequila, and it looks like him. I'm like, okay, that's it. The shark is jumping out of the water. So we wanted to be the tequila that celebrities choose to drink. So we're not at the Grammys or the Oscars or the Emmys. We're not even at the after party, but we are the after party. There's a place called Vast House that's opposite Chateau Marmont. I don't know if you know about it. We're the only spirits served there. It's a partnership we've had for 3 years, and it's where all the celebrities go after the party to, the branded parties for CAA. They come there. We do the same in New York. We do the same in Austin. We do the same in Dallas. If you go to St. Bart's, we're there. We're all over the place because why? Some of the best bartenders in the world live there and go there and holiday there, so we're there for them. So we're in part around the back door on cultural moments by just being a brand that just gets discovered at the after party. So that's kind of important for us because it's part of being a cool brand that people discover. People take the bottles with them as well. We encourage it. We create some cultural moments. At South by Southwest, we were talking the other day, we had 18 activations at South by Southwest, more than, I think, 30,000 people in touch with LALO there. But it's really about just being where our customers are and finding ways and unique ways to entertain them. We just put a dinner party on in Charleston, in South Carolina, for a whole bunch of creators and journalists. We had other newspapers calling us saying, "Can you do a party for us?" Because it was so beautiful. The food was beautiful, the drinks were beautiful, the cocktails were superb, and the conversation was great. So, alcohol in general, and tequila in particular, is about a party. It's about bringing people together. It's about enjoyment and joy. So that kind of comes fairly easy for us. But we will put 500 of those on this year.
Yeah. For me, I would say that I'm a big moment marketer. Something about a big moment is very special. It's a moment because consumers are open to hearing from brands, whether it's the Grammys and making sure that you're being very timely with your social feeds, or even like being on the ground for that experiential moment and engaging with consumers during the moment that matters to them. I mean, we found ways to do that throughout my career. When I was at Red Bull, I mean, we used to launch products like Red Bull Yellow Edition back in 2015. We used Miami Music Week as the jumping off point for that. We knew that we'd be able to get hundreds of thousands of people interested in a new product because they were looking for new, they were looking for cool, they were looking to be in the know. And those are incredible moments to do that. But I think, to your point, you got to be careful, right? Because a lot of brands recognize that. So it becomes saturated with brands, and you've got to find a way to really stand out in these moments. That can be quite challenging because everybody can do an experiential activation, but when you're in those intimate moments with those people that matter, and those people that matter actually amplifying what it is that you're doing on the platforms, I mean, organically and authentically, right? Like, it really does make a much bigger difference. I would say Beyond Me is still kind of working into that realm. Now, in the past, before I got there was a lot of work that we did. We were at the Grammys, we were at the Oscars. There's a guy, Kyle Robisky, he's out there right now. He's a part of all that movement. We were always in the spaces where people mattered because at that point, plant-based meat was so new that everybody wanted to try it, right? Curiosity is the #1 trial driver for the brand. It's incredible, right? Because it actually tastes like meat. So you can imagine back in the 2018s, 2019s, there was a lot of that excitement, particularly here in our backyard in LA. And we're still doing a little bit of that. We get phone calls. We'll get a call from Ellen DeGeneres and say, "Hey, I'm having a little party. Can you guys come and cook for us?" We'll do stuff like that. But I think we get back to that because those moments really are so important.
Yeah, I mean, a bit off script, I'm just curious, was there any collaboration, even with your direct competitor, in an effort to rise all tides and address some of these misperceptions? Or is it like both get handled separately?
You mean right now? Well, I can neither confirm or deny. Yeah. Well, I would say that there's absolutely an opportunity for the category to come together. Yeah. And we've had conversations, some of the smaller brands and ours, about what we can do to combat misperception. But again, it's got to be in a way that people are willing to receive it. And we have taken steps from a new product development perspective to drive towards this healthier, better for you angle, whereas other members of our category are going in the opposite direction. So there's only so much collaboration possible.
Gotcha.
I just want to add to the cultural moment thing. We, in the closed door meeting, client meeting over lunchtime, we're talking about this, and I'll just give you a little insight. Because not all cultural moments are opportunities, and some very wise friend of mine, a CMO, said to me a while ago, Andy, track what you say no to, because that's as defining for your brand as what you say yes to. And I thought it was really profound. So we have 2 gay owners, they're married, and Pride's coming up, and the marketing team was saying, well, that's going to be a tentpole moment for us, right? Must be. We have gay owners, so we must make the most of it. Well, I spoke to our founders and they said, we just want to normalize being gay. We're happy to be married, we're happy to be gay, but we're entrepreneurs and we have a tequila business. And that's what really matters to us. And it's not to deprecate at all some of the issues facing LGBTQ plus people. And we want to support that, and we will support that. But we're not going to rainbow wave the flag just because it's a cultural moment and just because we have a connection. That would be inauthentic, that wouldn't be real, it's not who we are. If we're not going to do something real to help people in that community, other than selling tequila, then it feels kind of dishonest anyway. So, not all cultural moments are opportunities, and we were talking about this over lunch, that, it's kind of like a secret within marketing client circles, really, that there's a lot of stuff that we say no to because it's not authentic to the brand, it's not real, it's not who we are. And so, we spend a lot of time holding our senior executives back from wanting to chase the green lights and chase the shiny object. And it's our job as custodians of the brand sometimes to say no and hold firm when it would be easy to say yes and go chase it.
It reminds me of my days at Twitter and our brand strategy team would consult brands. Not everyone needs to chime in on April Fool's Day. I know we have 5 minutes left. I have one question, then we'll open it up to the floor. The question is around insights. I remember working at P&G for a number of years, and they were such an insights-driven marketer, sourcing it from whether focus groups and other traditional means, and ultimately advanced to using social media and Google and whatnot. But now I feel like insights can come from so many different sources. So I'm curious in terms of how do you go about understanding your consumer and having that real-time feedback with your consumer?
For us, we do a lot of traditional stuff too. We do custom research, we use syndicated data. We're sold in grocery stores, so you have a lot of IRI data, so you can understand what behaviors are happening. We started to pivot to more behavioral insights coming from how people are engaging with our ads, help us optimize our marketing campaign approach. I think another thing that we've really been listening to a lot more though, we're in the comments. And looking at what people are saying about our brand, and we're making some really interesting strategic pivots from an NPD perspective, but even from a messaging perspective. So when I first started, our social media was pretty kind of standard. We're doing a lot of recipes, a lot of recipe-driven content. And whenever we post a recipe, see a bunch of, call them meat bros in the comments, kind of hating on me on me. I'm like, good gosh, guys, am I gonna say anything about this? And then
comments can be really polarizing. It's either people who just hate everything or love everything.
Incredibly so. We're a very polarizing brand for whatever reason. But we started, engaging in the comments a little bit more, and I would tell the team, just kind of mess with people. Sit around and really fuck with them a little bit, And we saw our engagement go through the roof. We said, you know what? We can be tongue-in-cheek. We can have more fun in our comments, but then we can also pull insights from it. So, we heard from consumers that the sodium content was too high. So, start taking sodium out of our products. We heard from consumers that they felt like our ingredient list was too long. So we started cutting ingredients out, So we stopped putting vitamins and minerals in our products because people aren't giving us credit for it. But we mined a lot of that from social data, through the comment sections on our threads, on our Twitter, on our Instagram accounts. And it's been incredibly valuable for just the way that we've been engaging with consumers and audiences. And we built an entire marketing campaign in New Year's based on this different tonality. And it's something that we had never done before. And getting it by my board was very hard. But we did it. And we saw lifted sales because of it, pretty significant actually. So I think it's a really interesting way to do it, based on what consumers are saying to you. You can look at your consumer affairs information, but people seem to be a lot more authentic and real when you're in those comment sections when you don't know who they are, and they can be massive with Reddit, incredible source of data for us as well. But
that's great. It's such an engaged area, isn't it? It gets a lot of comment. We're in a weird category because we're not allowed to sell to consumers. In the spirits industry, there's a thing called the treated distribution system. It goes back to prohibition. So we sell to a distributor sells to a retailer sells to the consumer. So when I arrived, we really didn't know who our customer was. Honestly, we didn't. We had this beautiful hypothesis. We had this wonderful, they were called Henrys. Have you heard of the acronym? Yeah? It's absolute fucking bullshit. There's no such person. High earning, not rich yet. That's a Henry. High earning, not rich yet. Who says what rich is? And who says what high earning is? So it's utter rubbish. And when you talk to people who you think are Henrys because they're high earners but they're not rich yet, they will tell you, I'm not rich, and I'm not really a high earner. And so these are the characteristics of a Henry. They go, it's not me. So it's utter rubbish. But I think that's what happens a lot in marketing. We have this kind of fantasy about who our customer is. And when we don't have a direct relationship with the customer, and there's not much feedback, right? I mean, we do have a website, we do sell direct, but through distributor retail. We have about 1,000 people on that database, and so it's kind of spurious at the best of times. So we did commission some research into finding out who is buying our brand and who could buy our brand, and most importantly, who are the light users in the category that we could target. And I'm obsessed with insights, customer insights, and I'm really particular about what an insight is. It's not an observation. It's a penetrating discovery that inspires action. I'll say that again, because I used to run a research company. A penetrating discovery, so it's not something that was obvious. We had to think about it. It wasn't just surface to us. A penetrating discovery, something deep about people that inspires action. And so we think we found that in the last couple of months for LALO. And it's this, it's that most of the people who like our brand, love our brand, love it because they discovered it. Yeah. They love it because they wanted to share with their friends something new. Hey, I found this awesome tequila, it's additive free, it's really clean, it's a beautiful bottle, it's jewel-like. And we found that it's not just tequila that they do that with. They do that in all aspects of their lives. They're explorers, they're discoverers, they just love the kind of if you know kind of crowd. And you can imagine, like in that sort of 27 to 35 age range, there's a lot of people like that, especially in major capital cities. And this is social currency for them. But the tension in there is that requires constant vigilance to always be discovery, always finding the next thing. So you can't rest on your laurels for a minute because your social currency relies on it. So we think that's a really powerful insight. Why? Because it means our job then is to continuously feed them with new things that they can share with their friends and their groups and their crew. And that, for us, is the kind of essence of a consumer insight. And I think now we've found something that we can latch onto, that we can bring them all things to do with modern Mexico and reframe what Mexico is for Americans. And that just gives us a wealth of opportunity to build our brand around it. It's not just about the tequila and the single SKU and zero innovation. So that's what I do.
A round of applause for Congress.